Mm. What's happening? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, man? What's going on to what's going on with y'all this morning, man? Just checking in, man. It's your boy Triple BLACK. I'm in the building, you know what I'm saying? Man, happy Monday, positive vibes, your head, man. Anyways, man, what's going on with everybody, man, in the space, the manosphere, man. Shout out to all the people in the manosphere and stuff like that, man. I was just just checking in to see what's going on with everybody. And I was really thinking, man, I was just like, damn, um, man, I listened to a couple things, man. I'm like, man, I've been wilding lately. I've been wilding lately. Um and been drinking a lot. Been drinking way too much, probably way too much over the last couple of months and stuff like that. So, got a lot on my mind, man. Today's my father's birthday, man. Happy birthday. Rest in peace to my father, man. My father, I mean, it's been double digit years, man, since he's passed, man. And, it's been I'm not gonna lie, man. It's been something, man. It's been something. It's made a difference in my life, man. Uh, it's don't really get to talk to a lot of people about it, man, because you know what I'm saying. It's I lost my dad at I guess it would be like an early age, 29, and the thing about it is there's when I reflect back on it, there's a lot of stuff, even at that age, I probably uh, even at the age of I am right now, I probably would have gained a lot from it, but I just didn't realize how important having a father in your life, no matter what age, that wisdom and stuff like that. This was it like last weekend. Uh, you know, I still call him my father-in-law. He lost his father, and his father was 98, and he's like in the 70s and whatever. But and he got a whole brother, he got a whole bunch of brothers and sisters and stuff like that. A dude lived until he was 98, and all of them was fairly successful, in life, when it comes to like finances, marriages and things like that. And his thing about it is of I guess of just mental health in general. Uh, it's a subject that's often stigmatized, especially within certain in a certain community like our community. It's one of those things that are out of sight, out of mind. It don't apply to me. You don't apply to me. Um, you know, and people are not very forthcoming about how the effects of it. Because a lot of times, there's a lot of guilt, there's a lot of trauma associated with those type of things. So people put those things out of sight, out of mind. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy the amount of of stuff that goes on, in people's life that they just simply just don't want to talk about. People take things to the freaking grave. People take things to they take things they just take it to the grave, man. They just take it to the grave. They don't want to talk about it. It's out of sight, out of mind. Shout out to Toya, man. Shout out to Toya the Toda. I dropped the link, Toya, if you want to come up, share your thoughts on mental health. Your perspective. My panel's always open, man. I mean, I can handle the monologuing and stuff like that, but the thing about it is it just goes to show you um how much trauma that people are dealing with internally, because you have so many people that are out there that are carrying all these damn burdens, and they manifest themselves a different way. um you know um yeah. But it manifests itself a different way. And it wasn't until I was like listening, I was listening to because unless you talk to a person, you don't really understand sometimes what's going on internally, because I was sitting there listening. I was like, damn, bro. I mean, I'm like replaying the things, and I'm like, listen, man. I'm like, damn, I'm going at, I'm going at these people. I'm going at these people. What was really good, man? What's going on? What's going on? There must be something going on. And I'm like thinking to myself, man, you know what? There's and I'm not strictly blaming it on, the lack of, because the thing about it is, I'm a person that kind of looks at the world through my lens, and I have a like I don't give a fuck attitude, like whatever you think, it doesn't fucking whatever you eat don't make me shit. But well, there you go. You got Toya the Tutor up in here.
Good
What's happening?
morning.
Good morning.
I like your new Abby.
Nah, I had to put the business suit on, because I'm all about business this morning. It's part of my personality. I'm tripolar.
But
No,
you know that about yourself. That's a good thing.
yeah. I'm very comfortable in my own skin. I know I have some flaws, and I don't necessarily embrace some flaws. I just acknowledge them. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, and what prompted me to do this, I was like really listening to myself. I'm like, man, you know what? Who I'm saying a lot of times you don't want to put like that type of burden on them, because they got families, they got all these type of things. And I'm like thinking to myself, because this is like double digit years that I lost my father, you know what I'm saying? And I lost him at 29. And a lot of people say like 29 you're a man, you should know everything, blah blah blah. But that's not true, man, because life is a lifelong journey. There's so many things that he probably could have taught me in the 30s, because a lot of times when you're in your 30s, that's when you're really hitting your stride, and I've had to kind of almost make these mistakes that I've made, just like on my own. I don't really have like a person that I can talk to in that certain type of way. You got peers and stuff, but they're making the same mistakes that you're making. They're
Yeah, but
making
that's where a support system really comes in handy.
right.
You always have to craft a support system around yourself that you can lean
Hmm.
on in those uncertain times.
Right. But
Um,
no, I understand that. I understand that. But there is certain, like, I made a thing is there's certain things that like only your father's going to give you, man.
yeah,
Your grandfather's
yeah.
going to give you. There's going to be certain things in life that they're going to give you. They're going to give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times they can see themselves in you. You know, they can see themselves in you, and they can say like, son, you know, this is where I went wrong. Don't make the same
Mm.
mistakes. You know, and
Conversely, though, it might be in spite of their lives that you learn certain things because I
yeah,
will I will say from my point of view, and I am not at all trying to compare womanhood to manhood, but
uh-huh,
to your point about having your father be able to teach you certain things, I didn't have my father to be able to teach me certain things, but
hmm,
that absence allowed me to learn things from a different way, for better or
hmm,
worse. But a lot of it is part of what makes triple black and what makes Toya the tutor. It's like you can't
exactly.
discount the means by which you arrive at a destination because, like you were just saying, it's a
Hmm.
journey. And
Yeah.
your lot in life was not to have the keys passed down to you from your dad or your
Hmm.
granddad, but for you to go out and find them. And that may make you a more well-rounded person in the end.
No, no, it definitely. I when I reflect on a lot of stuff, I definitely see some things that uh, that had I would have never learned had I had my father or grandfather around. They probably would have protected me from it. But there's some hard lessons that I had to kind of learn myself. And the thing about it is those mistakes were probably not going to be made. As soon as I see it, I recognize it. I know exactly what it is, and that's just I wasn't sheltered from a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't sheltered from relationships. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are sheltered from that stuff. Um, like fortunate for me, I was able to learn early. Just from mistakes that I seen my brother make, mistakes I seen you know um, my dad made, and all this type of stuff. That was I kind of was gun shy. You know what I'm saying? That's why. I mean, I didn't really get into a relationship until I was 31. 31. That's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, it's not crazy. I don't think it's crazy. You know yourself.
No, I'm talking about like a real, like, you're my
Yeah.
boyfriend. You're my
I don't
boyfriend.
think
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
anything crazy
31.
about that. Honestly,
No,
like, because in your 20s, most of us are not looking to be in a serious relationship, nor are most
exactly.
of us even ready to have a serious relationship. I think that's
Right.
commendable.
Right. No, I had the attitude of like, nah, let me just do what I have to do and then let me get up out of there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that was just like the attitude I kind of took from, interactions with women in the past. And I kind of almost got a reputation, being real cold and just fucked up, because I was just like, nah. I was like, I'm not gonna let you sink your claws into me. Let me get the hell up out of
Yeah. But on the flip side of
this.
that, you do know that by being that way, you can talk yourself out of some really wonderful experiences.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely, definitely. Definitely.
That's the catch 22 of life. Because it's like you have to
Right,
be willing to take risks, but you also have to be willing to be disappointed or to be let down.
right. Yeah, the thing, yeah, that's the other side of the coin. That's the other side of the coin. It's when you do take that risk and then you get beat over the head the first time, you know, it it it, it sticks with. I mean, like, it's harder. It's harder. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how, like, when you're in high school, you get beat over the. I never had that experience where, I had that puppy love or being, in a, high school relationship, middle school relationship, and then you get, like, those guys get their shit, like, hurt. You get your heart broken for the first time, and they become cold and blah blah blah. I never had that experience because I never allowed myself to to get there. But the danger is when I was older and I actually allowed myself to get there. The stakes were higher. You feel me? Because in high school, or college, you get your heart broken, blah blah blah. I mean, you can, wipe yourself off, get up, and go. Shit, when you in a marriage, like, what I'm saying, with a marriage or long-term relationship, you got assets and ties and stuff like that. That right there is going to be a very long. I mean, that's going to be a longer process right there.
Yeah, you
And
have
that's
way
that's if
more
you
skin
protect
in the
yourself.
game.
Oh, you got way more skin in the game. You see, like when I got into my first relationship or marriage or whatever, that's nothing but skin in the game right there. It's not a
Yeah.
game. It's not a
Yeah.
game. There's graver consequences for that.
Hmm.
Yeah. So there's a yin and a yang. But
Bingo.
do you think the average man has somebody to talk to about these mental health issues?
No, I don't. I don't think that. And that's why whenever I talk to one, I try to, be a listening ear as much as I can. Because
Hmm.
I don't think the average man has that. I've said time and time again
Yeah.
over on the Roger Report that I wish that black men had a soft landing space to come home to, because a lot of times that's really that makes a world of difference. If you've had a rough day and you can come home to a place where you know you can lay all those burdens down and relax,
Hmm.
that makes all the difference. Um, and I think I have a little bit of an understanding of that because of the fact that I was raised by a single mother who was always angry. And
Hmm.
I, it kind of made me a people pleaser to a certain extent, because I felt like it was my responsibility to make sure when she came home that there was nothing to fuss about. And
Right.
so, I think that similarly, when a black man specifically goes out into the world, whether he is going out into the world to work or just going out into the world, period, when he comes back, there is probably something that occurred to him on that time that he would be willing to forget. So,
Right.
the best thing I can do is make the home a place where that can occur. And he could have a warm meal, and he could have a listening ear, and maybe even a hug, you know?
Right. Yeah, you know what? The thing, and I'm glad that you mentioned that because, and I kind of almost, when you like you jump on some of these panels and you hear some of these shows, and I get it, I understand. And one thing that I like about my personality is like I can kind of look at it from a different side, even though I
Mhm,
might not like it, but
mhm.
sometimes you go on there, you have you hear these pissing matches, right, with these different
Yeah.
men, and then when you have a man complaining or is just airing out his grievances, it's almost a lot of people have a low level of disdain from not even the women, but just like the men too. Like, oh, you weak, you're this, you're weak, you're hurt, you're blah blah blah, and it's almost like, and I get it, because a lot of these men grew up where, at the age of 15, they had to show this
Mhm.
strength, show that because they were carrying all these burdens of their mama. They were carrying all the burdens of their family. You're the man of the
Mm.
house. You're supposed to be, and the thing about it is, it's a lot of it is false bravado, false strength. Because come on, man, at 15, man, you're not. You're still not even a man yet. You might have played in that role, and your mama might have told you the man of the house, but you didn't really. Unless you had another man like mentoring you or whatever, you didn't really know what the hell you were doing. And you can't do this, you can't do that. And I hear a lot of it, going on. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I think that's why a lot of men feel that they have to, it's like that, almost like and I'm not bashing on women. You know how like it's almost they got that type of woman type of uh attitude. You know how when you go in a room, you have that herd mentality, like that herd mentality, and they kind of agreeable and agree with everyone in the room, and then now you have the men kind of do the same thing. Oh, he weak. Oh, he this, he that. You feel me?
I do feel you, and I think that happens a lot when you present a perspective that had never been considered. Um,
Right,
a lot of times people have a hard time grasping concepts that haven't already been presented to them. So that's why you have that hive mind or that group think um, mentality. And I,
right.
I can attest to that myself, because there's been plenty of times when I've been on panels and I'm like, man, is anybody listening to what I'm saying? Because you keep belaboring a point that we already made. And I'm just like, can we move on?
Right. The thing is like who when okay, I'll give you an example. Um the shame, the sign language, the main sign,
Yes.
the favorite sign language is who hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Who hurt you? Is there a person on the planet that hasn't been hurt?
Okay. And that's where I come from with it, because it's like if you know what it feels like to be hurt, then why would you do that to someone else?
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's like, it's like. I mean, it's a dumbest question, but obviously it's a deflection tactic because
Yeah.
it's just not even a relevant question. It's like, who hurt you? Boo. It's like, who hurt you? Like, who has not been hurt?
Yeah.
Isn't it common sense if I'm airing out these grievances that I've been hurt? Okay, all right. Let's just say, you answer that question and be like, oh yeah, my ex-wife hurt me. Then what?
Then it's about, okay, let's move on from that hurt, because sometimes I'll be honest, when I use that phrase, who hurt you, I use it because I feel like someone hasn't gotten past the hurt, and it's like, all right, let's go back to the root of who hurt you so we could get you past that, because you've been there too long.
Mhm. Right. But this is one of the problems, and I don't know how you can fix it because in this is a subject that gets beaten to the thing. It's the lack of accountability.
Mhm.
That is the thing that keeps people stuck. If you ask a lot of men, right, that's probably in their 30s, in their 40s, that they've been with some woman, they could be their baby mama, their ex-wife, have they got some closure? I guarantee you, most of them, no, they've never got any closure from that relationship. They never got any closure from, I've been, away from mine for almost 4 years now, and I've never got. I mean, she won't even have the conversation. She won't even have the conversation. And you think about it, there's a lot of men out there like that, like this. And the thing about it is that there's these emotional traumas that a lot of these men have faced, including myself, that they've got no closure on. They got no closure. They don't have no reason. Just you've been told to suck it up and just go. Just be a man about it. You feel me? Because you know this accountability conversation,
Yeah,
right?
I do.
Right. I mean, how many men do you really think have sat down, like, say, with their baby mama, and she has like, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. This is what I did. Um, I did this. I'm sorry for this, or I'm taking responsibility for this. This is not your fault. How many of these conversations do you really think happen
Not that.
until not? And I mean, I'm not talking about deathbed conversations. I'm talking
Oh, I
about like
know.
real live.
I know what you're saying, but I just want to point out also that part of adulthood is realizing that you're not always going to get the closure you seek. And I can speak from my own experience of not having closure and how heartbreaking that was for me during a time that I really thought I needed it.
Hmm.
But what happens is you start to get new tools for your belt to deal with
Hmm.
the fact that no one owes you closure, and sometimes you just will not get it. So you either have to give it to yourself to be able to move on,
Hmm.
or you have to reconcile the ways in which you contributed to whatever the situation ended up as. Because, like you said, we all have trauma, we all have baggage that we go from one relationship to the next with. But it is not incumbent upon the partner that you previously had to help you work that out. It's incumbent upon you to do that
Right.
self work. And the great thing about not getting that closure when you really think you need it is that when you give it to yourself, that puts you on a higher vibration.
Hmm.
And I'll tell you, from the point where I thought I needed closure from someone, the moment I went out and got it for myself and moved on, not to say that this will always happen, but that person came back to me and, had a conversation with me that, the conversation I was looking for years prior. But at that time, it didn't
Hmm.
hold very much value because I had already moved on. So that's the thing. Like, that's what I will say about closure. We all want it, but the truth is, usually we won't get it. But you still have to push on beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get that closure. But and I think that is one of the hold on. One of the things too is that hold on a second. I was just
Take
taking
your
a look at something.
time.
Update info. Okay, but no. One of the things is I think because you have so many non-marriages
Mm,
that people can walk away, especially within our community. Because the thing about it is I got some type of closure because I was in a marriage, because you're forced to do mediation, you're forced to do child things, you're support, you're forced to kind of do that. So you have some periods of time, especially if you're in a marriage and stuff like that, you're going to get some type of respect. People within our community are not tied like that, because we have those very low so people can just separate and not even they don't even have to even be functional with each other. They don't even have to be functional with each other. Imagine if you're a guy and you got three baby mamas, right? I'm just using that for an example. And you've never had any closure within any of them, within any of those relationships, or you couldn't get any closure. You just have contentious relationships with all three of them. How would that work on your mental health? That would you might have two baby mamas that's on board, that's letting you see your kid. Then you might have one that doesn't want anything for you. I mean, they don't want you, like they don't even want you around their kid. You feel me?
yeah, but
That right there would weigh on somebody's, probably is just going to weigh on somebody's freaking mental for years.
I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you. And but I think what people miss is that in these types of conversations, let's say you and I have a contentious relationship and you and I have a child together, and I don't want to speak to you,
Hmm.
and I'm making it hard for you to see your son. um, what many people don't realize is that the seed for that sort of foundation has been planted long before you actually have the child. So if you go back
Hmm.
into the ways that you started to get to know each other, those things were apparent. They were lying dormant, but they were apparent. And so we
Hmm.
have to then take accountability for ignoring some of those red flags that we encounter before we enter into such lengthy agreements with people. Um, that's where I always like to come at things, because I always turn the mirror to myself. If somebody treats me badly or is doing something that I don't like, I always look at myself in the mirror and say, what is it that I did to contribute to this person? Number one, thinking that they could treat me like this. And number two, thinking that it was okay. There's always something that we can identify in our own behavior that points toward why we ended up in this situation. And I'm only saying that, I'm not saying that to say that in this scenario you should give me any grace for that. But what I'm saying is
Right.
you got to leave me where I'm at once you decide, okay, this is not what I want anymore. I've made this child with Toya and I still need to take care of this child, but she's making it difficult. So I'm going to do whatever it is I can on my end to make this run smoother. That's the only thing, that's the best thing you can do. Leave me where
Yeah.
I'm at. And then, obviously, whenever you can, wish me well and offer me that courteous goodwill to get my shit together. But there's nothing you can do to make me do it.
I agree with what you're saying, but and I think a lot of men would give you some pushback on that.
Sure.
The reason is first of all, I mean you've reached a level of maturity where you can be that self-aware.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't reach that level of maturity.
Yeah.
They don't have conflict in them. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because there's okay. You might have that scenario, right?
Right.
where you have come to grips and you be like, hey, you know what? Despite what you do, I'm gonna, be nice, and I'm gonna be this, and I'm gonna be that, right? And you start talking to a person that has gained no closure from the situation. You guys never sat down and talked about it. They still have all this angst, all this stuff running inside them, and then their pride is not letting them let it go. Their pride is not letting them want to sit down and talk about it. Their pride is not letting them want to understand. They have all this anger, and then you might be at a place to where, hey, you know what? I've grown mentally. I'm okay. I've accepted it. That right there sometimes can build a lot of resentment. I've seen it so many times. I've been through it to where I'm trying to be super nice, super cordial, and this person is just not wanting any part of it. They want to see you. The fact that you're okay, you're grounded, you're doing good, makes them angry.
Yeah, because they can't
And you want to see it,
I said, yeah, they're angry because they
huh?
can't access that. You have to understand, like you were saying when
Right.
I was listening, when I first came on and started listening,
Hmm.
everybody's on a journey. And, some of us are
Yeah.
coming to it with our own tools. Some of us are coming to it without any tools. Some of us are coming to it missing
Hmm.
limbs. When you think about the fact that we all have our own strife and struggle in life, right? Um,
Hmm.
there's these truths that we have to adjust to and accept. Okay, like in this case that you're
Right.
talking about, this is someone who, for lack of betterment of themselves, can't even be happy for you to be working on yourself, because they don't even know
Hmm.
they can't figure out the first step to take to make themselves better. So how dare you be better? How dare you
Hmm.
grow? How dare you eclipse me in terms of what you can be and offer to our child? You know what I'm saying? That's
Hmm.
anger that is from within. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with, I can't access that for myself and I want to. I'm angry because I want to be a different person, but this is the only person I know how to be. So I'm going to be this even more.
Yeah. And it's so and I think that's why, like, a person like Kevin Samuels, and I'm not, like, his fanboy or anything like that, but I mean, just having that conversation
Hmm.
is people don't understand these consequences, man. Like, they don't understand these consequences when you don't try to do it right from the first time,
Yep.
to try to be in these functional relationships, and then just kind of like try to, be on a wild wild west, do whatever you want to do, that thing, because you're gonna, I mean, there's real grave consequences to it. There's great consequences when don't you don't make an effort to choose the right partner. You don't make an effort to do it the right way. You don't make an effort before you're married, before you carry, because you end up in these lifelong situations that are very contentious, and there's no way to fix it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when that guy that gets, two women pregnant at the same time, like, so on the outside, it might be like he's the man, but this guy's gonna go through it, man. He's going to go through it. You may not see it. You may have enough money to where, hey, everything looks great. You the man, but those those things, don't be surprised that that guy, has heart attack at 70. You know what I'm saying? Because he's dealt with so much stress in his life. You feel me? Um, that's why, those a lunch pail guy, that had a wife and kids and didn't, shake the boat too much. That's why he's able to retire and live that life, because he didn't have that much stress. You know what I'm saying? So that's private chat. What's going on? Oh boy, man, the powers that be don't want to let me be good, man, because
I keep working. I guess I got to get the equipment right or whatever now.
You're louder now for sure, but it's still a little choppy.
Oh, it's a little choppy.
Okay, that's clear. That was very clear.
That's clear. Okay.
Yeah.
Am I still super loud?
No, this is perfect. Don't move.
But no, no. What I'm saying is that it's very important that you do stuff from the beginning, right? Because um, behind these situations where you have like I was just using an example where that guy he has two kids from two different baby mamas, and sometimes on the outside looking in, um, you know people might say he's the man or whatever, despite whatever type of money he has or whatever, he's still probably going to go through hell. You feel me? A certain
Oh
amount of
yeah.
hmm? But it
Yeah,
doesn't.
you can almost guarantee he's gonna go through hell.
Right. But from the outside looking in, it doesn't. It's not going to look that bad, right? It's not going to look that bad. I don't think it's just not going to look that bad. But he might be going through personal hell. But that guy, who that person can, I mean, who can he really vent to? Who can he really talk to about that whole situation?
And that's the shame because it's like we can't sit here and demand higher from you as men, right? We can't sit here and make demands about what we want from men if we're not willing to facilitate that, if we're not willing to hold up our end of the bargain. So I completely feel you as far as that goes. But this is why I always say to men, prioritize your mental peace. You know, these things are choices. The women that are out here carrying themselves in such a way that doesn't even allow you their ear to talk to about things, then you have to remove yourself. You have to make that decision to prioritize yourself because as a good man, you are a commodity and you should be treated as such. But when you lower yourself to deal with these bottom of the barrel women who look the part that you want them to look, but don't offer you anything in value, you're telling the universe that this is more of what you want.
Very true. Guys, said when it comes to our mental which for the relief in the current area, I mean, in the current areas offered of the system are ineffective. Yeah, they are. Um, yeah, it is very ineffective. Because the thing about it, what when it comes to mental health, right? Let's look at the infrastructure even for the mental health for a black man. Um, if let's just say I decided I wanted to go get some help, right? What are the chances I'm going to get somebody that's been through my experience?
Not high, but I don't know if you would want that.
Right, right. And if you look at like even rehabilitation,
Hmm.
still Morgan,
Yeah, it's like in and out. Like there's moments of absolute clarity and then some moments where it's choppy.
and this is the powers of be don't want me to do this, man. But I mean, let's look at the prison system. The prison system. Um, look at the prison system and how that mental health. I mean, like just the whole infrastructure. I mean, first of all, it's just it almost seems like it's a Ponzi scheme. They're just trying to get you through there just to get paid. They're not really effective.
Well,
A lot
yeah.
of people don't
I
even
mean,
realize that.
honestly, the prison system was just a legal extension of slavery. So no, it was never meant to
Mhm.
rehabilitate people.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, there's so many different factors because of the way our culture is. Think about it. There's a guy right now. There's several guys. I know guys that are sitting in a box right now for something that they didn't do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All for the sake of keeping it real.
Or for the sake of being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Exactly. Right. You know, the thing about it is, okay, how do you get out then, right? And let's just say you have a son. You know, you've been in there for 5 years. You miss, you know, all these critical parts. Now you're getting resentment from his mother. Now you're gonna probably get resentment from him, you know, and you're probably gonna get resistance from the job market because you know you haven't been in the job market. You have all these forces now against you, right? Now you got to battle these forces. You got to battle these forces, try to win them over. I mean, but you also have a fraction of people telling you got to be strong, you can't be weak, you can't do this, you can't depend on nobody. You got to be, you got to muster all this strength from somewhere. Like I get it why some of these guys or even myself we turn to different things to kind of you know I guess
To
I don't know
soften the blow.
to
I
soften
know.
the blow to soften the
I
blow.
know. But can I say something?
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a popular thing. It's not gonna hit the ball out of the park for anybody, but this is why I always say that it's an inside job. Because even in the example you just gave, a person who has been wrongly accused of, charged for, and jailed for something obviously has a story to tell, right? But
Hmm.
in some cases, one could argue that that person has a greater lease on life than those of us who've been free the whole time. Because
Hmm.
if you understand that happiness is an inside job, anything that happens outside of you cannot it cannot penetrate that. The whole point that we are given life is to enjoy it. So all of the variables and extensions that happen outside of that are pluses and minuses, but this is why us being who we are is good enough just as we exist. If we operated from that understanding, then other things would be easier. But we convince ourselves that we need these other things to make us happy, to make us whole, to make us worthy, when all along it was just you. Like, I know that sounds cliche and I know it sounds very kumbaya, we are the world, but I truly believe that. And it is why I don't find myself in less than favorable positions. I don't
Hmm.
operate from that vibration. The minute you seep into low vibration energy, you are no longer responsible for any of the low vibrational shit that comes your way. But as soon as you start operating from a place of
No. Well,
yourself
you
and
know,
it being an inside job, you really stand out and above the rest.
yeah, you do stand out. I will definitely give you that. You do stand out, and I'm glad that you say that. Let's
Sure.
unpack that a little bit. Let's unpack that a little bit. Okay, what does that really say about yourself, right? If you need like and like like okay, let's just say that these level up people, you know, we'll use the level up men, get your money right, get the bag, get
Mhm.
this, and you know, wear Gucci, you know, drive a Lambo and all this type of stuff.
Mhm.
What's that really saying though?
It says that you need things to feel whole.
Right. Like you're really nothing without that. I mean, that's because you know what you're saying,
That's
that
the
inner
message
peace
it sends. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
glaring, you know.
Yep. Yep. It is. But this is why
But
I've
why?
never been swayed by material things. because those things are just that, things.
Right.
I'm a
But
whole
why
person. I'm a whole
essentially the
being. I'm a whole
society,
spirit.
like say for instance, if you're a dude, right, and you desire an average woman, an average lifestyle, an average job, an average everything.
Mhm.
Um, Even if you're in a circle of a bunch of men, they almost have a low level of disdain for you. Like, why do you want this average ass shit? Or if you're a woman
But
and you're in
that's
that
their
same
problem.
thing, I know that's their problem, but what I'm saying is it just like most people are unhappy?
Yes. You don't know that?
That's a,
Most people are walking around here miserable. That's why the saying goes, misery loves company. And this is what you were just talking about with groupthink and herd mentality. People will pile into a room where there's misery because it looks familiar, but no other reason but that it looks familiar.
yeah. I
They will
see this go.
bypass a room full of abundance, happiness, and peace because they see somebody they know in the misery room. Think about that.
This let me read. I can't even. You're a better reader. I mean, I can't even pronounce. I wish
I'll read it. I'll read it. This is
Roger.
very
Sorry.
This very society is diametrically opposed to our very mental health, fam. It has nothing to do with us specifically. We acknowledge that and we have an honest start. Then we can move forward.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's basically what I was just saying. It's diametrically opposed to our mental health to choose what's best for us because everything that's not good for us is being shoved down our throats. That's what we recognize.
Yeah. That's no. That's a definitely define average. Well, you know what? That's a great question. You got me stumped on that because society has kind of almost put a benchmark on certain things, and it's made to to be deemed as average. You know, if you're making 40,000, you're average. If you live in $100,000 house, you're average. If you're living like, if you're driving, just a regular car, you're average. But but that's how society looks at it. But you can be happy as hell inside and be exceptional at different things. And society won't even know it because of what they see you driving, of what they see you living, of
But
what they
why
see your
why should
great
why should
question.
society care? Why like I understand what you're saying. You're absolutely right. People on the outside looking in will say there's no way that person could be happy because they don't have all the trappings of happiness that I have or that I think they should have. But again,
More money,
yeah,
more
but again, those
problems.
people don't matter. Like like how do you think I'm able to walk around these YouTube streets and get on panels and say the shit that I say? None of what I say is popular. But I don't
Yeah.
care. Like, I legit do not care about the fact that so many people would rather operate in low frequency and stay there. I can't care about that. All I
Right.
can do is what
Right.
resonates with me, makes me feel good. Because
Hmm.
once I get off this panel, guess what? Life doesn't stop for me. And I'm not thinking about y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to do what makes Toya happy so that I can still be a resource to others. But if I'm not into myself in the ways that I see fit, then I can't do that for anybody else.
Absolutely. And this kind of brought up a conversation. I mean, it made me think of my grandmother from Haiti, right? I remember when I don't know how old I was, but she had came to the States for the first time, right? And
Mhm.
she had left my grandfather, because they lived out, in Haiti. way out in the grid. They never had any electricity, nothing. They
Yeah.
kind of lived like, they even tried to send them generators and all that. My grandfather refused it. He didn't want to
Yeah, because
live
they
that way.
already knew how to live the way they were living.
Right. They live off the land and all the
Mhm.
stuff, right? And one would think, oh, America, this is great, blah blah blah. I remember when we went to go see her, she was miserable. She didn't want nothing to do with the trappings of what we were in. Like, she wanted to go back like that. I mean, of course, she wanted to see her kids. She didn't want anything to do
Yeah.
with this.
And what did that tell you?
I don't know. I mean, she
It's
lived to
because
to
her
her old
happiness
age.
came from within. Her
Hmm.
happiness, her fulfillment was there already. She didn't
Right.
need the accessories. None of us need this crap. We don't. We tell ourselves we need it because we're bombarded with images of things that we should aspire toward. From the moment,
Toya, you just broke. You're hurt. You don't know. Like, you just broke. You're hurt,
yeah,
and you're crazy.
yeah. I'm just saying.
No, it's crazy, man. You know what? That is something that I want to try to practice on. Um, I'm gonna try to practice on that because
Yeah,
there's
it has to
certain
be
things that you
practiced.
can do. There's certain things that you can do if you are proactive to try to kind of you're never gonna have 100% mental peace, but I think that there's certain things that you can do to kind of mitigate uh, the stuff that you get. You can mitigate that the conflict in yourself. I think, like, waking up, being positive, setting
Yes.
objective, setting
Rather
small
rather than
goals.
trying to mitigate it, you should transmute it because accepting the energy for what it is when it pops up, when it occurs, is a form of freedom. It's
Hmm.
allowing yourself to acknowledge that this is what truly came up for you. But then
Right.
making the choice to transmute it into something positive, you know? For example, I know you've probably seen people or heard people say, instead of I have to, why don't you look at it as I get to?
Yeah.
Something as simple as switching your perspective from something being a task to something that you are able to do. You get to do something. Makes you, number one, grateful for having the resources to be able to do it. And number two, the ability to have it done.
Yeah.
Those are small measures of joy that you can give yourself throughout the day simply for completing tasks,
Yeah.
right? And I get it. Not every day is going to be a star A day. It's not going to be one of those days where you just feel great and but when you pour into yourself and you say affirmations to start your day, you start having more of those good days. And when you do have a
Hmm.
bad one, you have things in your tool belt to turn it around. Good
Big
morning,
shout
Miss
out to Sheila
Cajun.
E. Miss Cajun. Shout out to Miss Cajun. You know what? That is you changing the perspective. I'll tell you. I remember one time I was leaving from. I mean, like, one of the accomplishments that I used to have, that used to brought me great joy is like waking up. I started waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, doing a little exercise or whatever, and cooking breakfast for my son. Giving him a bath, and then getting ready for work and stuff like that, and always made sure to give him and my ex-wife a kiss, like a kiss goodbye, going to work or whatever, just before, or dropping them off or picking them up at daycare and things like that. Just like, I used to love to go get him from daycare, when he was first little, and then he sees you, then he just gets so excited, like, you just act like, whatever. And I remember one day, I was in a rush, and I had an appointment, and I forgot to give him a kiss and her a kiss and like a goodbye kiss. To make a long story short, I ended up closing a real significant deal client. It just I didn't get no joy out of that. I mean, this is a significant commission, significant everything, but and I remember this vividly when I was driving, it bothered the crap out of me that I didn't give him and my wife a kiss before I left. And we closed the deal or whatever, and I just didn't feel right that whole day. Can you hear me? No, you can't hear me.
Can you hear me, Triple Black?
You couldn't hear the whole thing I just said, could you?
No.
Oh.
I was just getting ready to type in the private chat that I was going to drop down.
No, I mean, if you can hear me now, I just told a short story about how, like, it was very important for me to cook breakfast, give my son a bath, give my wife and him a kiss. And one morning, I didn't get to do that. I ended up, because I had a good appointment, and I closed a pretty significant deal at work, but that meant nothing to me because I didn't get to do those first parts, like, if, like, some days when I didn't get to pick up my son from daycare, because that became a routine for me, that kind of like messed up my day. You know what I'm saying? Because I was so used to him running up to me, and that to me that was living. You know what I'm saying? Like seeing those little things.
Question.
Go ahead.
Do you still love your ex-wife?
You know what?
Okay, you cut out, so I'm not sure if you're talking.
Romantic love, I don't. This is crazy. What is? Hold on a second.
Well, either way, I don't know if you're talking, but the reason I asked is because I wanted to know if there was like what specifically, if you mind sharing, broke you guys apart. Because it sounds like you were really dedicated as a husband and as a father, and that some of that dedication still lies within you, but you have nowhere to put it. That's what comes across.
Influence, family, influence and family. That's one of the and I think it came down to cultures too. Culture. I think was a very that came down. I mean, it came down to it because I'm from the island. Well, I'm not from there, but my culture is Haitian, right? And Haitian men and Caribbean men in general have a reputation of being very controlling. Very controlling, very whatever. And when it comes to I don't know what's going on, man. But I might have to restart my computer, restart the stream or whatever, because I have no idea. This always happens to me, man. I thought it was a microphone. It's not the microphone, but I think what it comes down to is just the culture. There's a stigma of my culture of being very controlling. And I know in a lot of African American households, a controlling man should definitely get resistance, and I think that, not to be, there was that whole aspect, You're not supposed to let a man, kind of run the household, whatever. You're not. There's supposed to be automatic resistance to that, and I think that might have been the catalyst. Again, I'm not trying to fight a battle, and I think that's just men in general. We're not trying to fight a battle with our wife. We're not trying to fight a battle, with their family. We're not trying to fight a battle. I mean, we already go into the world fighting against different forces. We don't need another enemy to fight. And 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 the thing about it is with some of these, like especially with African American culture, one of the things is when you show some weakness, you show some like weakness or vulnerability, you will get attacked. You will get tested. You will get people will come after you. And the thing about it is me, I'm a very strong-willed person. I'm just not having it. I'm not having it. I mean, if it's my house, it's on my terms, and unfortunately, it just didn't happen that way. So, that answered a little bit of the question, but now dedication, of course, you know what I'm saying. I seen it growing up with my dad. Happy birthday to my dad, man. It's my dad's birthday, actually. It would have been his birthday. Rest in peace. Which is crazy. Oh man, this is crazy. It's only been 12 years now. Almost 12 years now. So, happy birthday to him, man. The sound is bad now. Yeah, let me go ahead and end the stream, man. And I'm gonna come back on because I think this is an interesting topic. I hope I can get better response. I mean, like, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream and see if I can do this better, man. But man, thank you guys for listening. Thank Toya for coming back on. Man, that was awesome, man. We talked about some good stuff, man. But I'm gonna try to get back on here, man. Maybe I just need to reset my computer, man. That's what I need to do. All right, man.